Hi, welcome. Thank you for being here. My name is Michelle and I am called Shell. I'm creating this video in June of 2024 in the season of spring from my garden in Northern California. I am creating this video with the intention of sharing more about myself because I am co-leading a painting workshop this month in a 24-hour paint jam, and the theme of it is That's How Powerful I Am. And the theme of the workshop that I am co-leading is the wellspring of personal power. And so in that sharing, I don't want to spend much time getting into too much about myself. I'll have just a brief introductory and a little bit of sharing about myself. But for those who might be interested in getting to know me a little more, I wanted to share a video. This isn't going to be about me. It's going to be a share of the experiences that I've had in my life. Because who I am is always evolving and expanding. Some of what I could say about who I am today, I would say I'm a wild earth mama, and I'm also cosmic holy mother. I feel that I am this beautiful blend above and below of both. I'm grounded and I'm a part of the wild that is nature. And I'm also a very sensitive, psychic, intuitive empath. And I dance in between all of the worlds. I live a very multi-dimensional experience. So this share in this video is going to be so that people can get to know about the experiences I've had in a way that allows people to relate to my journey of coming into healing and empowerment. I realize that a lot of times what I find in the client work that I do and just my experience in sharing myself in the world is that people will often relate to others by shared experience. And if I only share the experiences that I'm having now, then I might seem unrelatable to a lot of people. So I want to go back before my healing journey, before I dove into the healing work, to share the experiences that I had that have helped, that have served as training for who I am today. For the brave, confident warrior spirit that I have today. There were a lot of things that shaped my warriorship. So before I get into that, I would just like, if you could please, to take a moment and to tune into your breath and to become present and to feel grounded, fully grounded in your body, with the environment that you're in. And I ask you to please only take in what resonates through my sharing, and to please discard all the rest. Again, this is just me sharing my personal experiences. And so some of what I'm going to share will be very triggering, especially for those who have experienced similar traumas. And so, as this could spark a memory or even a reaction of something that has happened with you or someone that you're close to, I ask for you to please remember that this is intended as a sharing, now being on the other side of it. So all that I'm going to share today about, I have done the deep journey work, the inner work to heal. And so I will share about that in another video, but I want to share that, at least express that, to share that there is freedom on the other side of victimhood, or even for those who don't resonate with victimhood, but that are still aware that they carry, that they have symptoms from the traumas that they have experienced, and that they are still carrying energetically or physically, emotionally, mentally, fragments from traumatic experiences that they've had. So I thought the best way to do this would be to start from birth and just do it in sort of like, birth to 5 years old. So, yes, again, please only listen to what resonates and discard the rest. Thank you. So from the time I was born until I became 5 years old, I experienced my parents divorcing, betrayal of my mother. She put me in an unsafe living environment. Her boyfriend, who was much older than her, violently, sexually molested me when I was 4 years old. And her and him had a volatile relationship. From the age of 6 to 10, I was given alcohol by my dad on more than one occasion. So I experienced my first blackout drunk and my first throw up drunk before I was 10. I was sexually molested by a boy on my swim team that my mom dropped me off to be babysat by his older sister, while my mom went out to do her thing. Again, putting me in an unsafe environment. This boy was on my swim team, and so I developed migraines because I was made to face my victimizer 5 days a week. My father married a woman who abused me verbally, racially, emotionally, physically. She enjoyed hurting me, and I developed migraines at this time and depression. Also because some of the verbal abuse that came from her was racial. She would call me things like a chink and a Jap, and just say all these awful things. I myself, at this young age, developed racism. And I believed that all white women were evil, and then didn't want to associate with the half of me that is white. So it's almost like I disowned or disassociated with a part of myself. I I finally told my family that she was beating me and abusing me, and my dad told me that I was dead to him. And so I left his home and I was estranged from him for years. No contact. Now 11 years old to 15. I now have addictions. I'm addicted to alcohol, tobacco. I'm depressed. I have depression. I attempt suicide by taking a bottle of my mother's Excedrin, extra strength Excedrin. I become sexually active and develop addiction to sex. I am raped. I was on my period at this time when it happened, and it would have been by a group of boys. And what saved me was that the smell of my menstrual blood was so off-putting to them that after the first boy was complete, they didn't finish. Instead, they dropped me off on the lawn of a stranger. I had been given something, I don't know what, and so I was having this out-of-body experience, which was something that I had developed when that was happening to me at 4. I was leaving my body to deal with the pain and stuff, and so again at this time it was happening in this way. I was like removed from myself. So then also between 11 years old and 15, I had been sent back to live with my father and his wife, and they had me committed to a mental institution. So I spent a short period of time in 2 different mental institutions where I became crazy, right? I mean, that's what they committed me to, and I had an awful experience there with a girl who wanted to force herself on me sexually, my roommate, and then stole from me. So then I physically attacked her, and she had to have stitches. So then I was put into this solitary room strapped to a bed. Yes, and so then after that I became a runaway. I dropped out of school. I was labeled bipolar, manic depressive. I had been put on meds during that time. And then between the ages of 16 and 20, my addictions were alcohol, tobacco, sex, and marijuana. I was depressed. Also during this time, I became pregnant. My first real boyfriend. I delivered by emergency cesarean section, 12 weeks premature due to stress and dehydration. So I had a special needs baby at 18 years old. I decided that I wanted to break up with his father when I turned 21. I had basically learned from my own parents that when you no longer want someone around, you just want them to be dead to you. And I communicated that. And unfortunately, he was really depressed and attempted suicide. And in his attempt of suicide, he was in a car accident that killed someone. So he was convicted of 2nd-degree murder and received a life sentence. So I was then a single mother and dealing with guilt along with my depression. And yeah, that's when I developed like anxiety as well. Depression, anxiety. I was a very young mother. So then between the ages of 21 and 25, my addictions were alcohol, tobacco, and sex. I was dealing with depression and anxiety. I now have money issues, spending issues. I move in with an uncle to help be able to support my son. I'm working full time, and while I'm living with him, he commits suicide. So I'm beginning to feel more guilt in my life because I feel that these incidents are related to me at this time. I am the key witness in my son's father's criminal court trial that drags on for a long time. And during that trial, his attorney subpoenaed my personal journals. I had been keeping diaries since I was a preteen. And the attorney read in court some of the things that I had written for myself in privacy to make me out to be a promiscuous, to slander me in front of everyone present. So my journals no longer felt safe to me. From the age of 25 to 30, my mother, who at this time of my life is my best friend, develops cancer and transitions. And it was, at this point in my life, at 30 years old, the loss of my mother that was the catalyst for the change in my life. It was in losing my mother in my life that I was determined to know what is the meaning of life. Like, why am I here? What is my purpose? I wanted to know that our souls were eternal because I wanted to know that I would connect with her soul again, that I could be connected to her even after her leaving her body. And so I began my spiritual journey. It was the loss of my mother that truly sparked the beginning of the journey that brought me back to the original mother. I started with a gratitude practice and just journaling writing down what I was grateful for every day. And then it just evolved throughout the years. That was 16 years ago. Today is June 2nd, 2024. And on May 31st, just 3 days ago, was the 16-year mark since my mother left her body. And I can say that today I am whole. I have peace in my heart. I love myself, and therefore I love all of life. I experience every day my connectivity to life. How we are all woven into the one. We are all connected, every parts of us. The grass I'm sitting in and the flowers blooming behind me, the birds, the insects, the soil. We are all connected, and I get to live this multi-dimensional experience now because for the last 16 years, I have been dedicated to what I now call self-mastery, spiritual maturity. But it was my healing journey that just continues on and on and on. Because my healing journey won't end. The more that comes up, the more I get to heal now for my ancestors and for everyone around me, and continuously me. And so I will share little bits in different videos about different things that have helped me, all the tools that I've gathered that have fostered in me the ability to be a self-healer. All these little tools, they help. And then it is what's in the heart that gets to it all gets processed and healed in the heart and shared from there as well. And so I thank you for spending these 20 minutes to be with me, to hear about my experiences, so that I can serve as a sacred mirror for the warrior, for the strength that is in you, for that part of you that knows that no matter what your trauma experiences have looked like, that you have all the tools and everything necessary to heal and transform the trauma into spiritual maturity, self-mastery, self-love that gets to be shared all around you. So again, I thank you. I thank you for witnessing me and my sharing. I know that the experiences that I've had through this life, they don't define me. They don't even describe me. Those experiences gave me all of the tools and the training that my soul called in to become who I am now. And so I offer my gratitude to all of it, to all of life. Thank you. See you again.